The R1 one-handed is a diagonal chop downward, alternating from right to left and then left to right. This move is good for roll catches, hyper-armoring through attacks, and dead angling, which is almost a necessity to avoid its high parry ability. But this move is good for parry baits due to its fast recovery time. The one-handed R2 is similar to the R1 except it has longer range, it's slower and does more damage. So it's really good for roll catches, dead angling, but the hyper armor between the swings has to be timed for maximum utilization of this weapon. The running / backstep one-handed R1 is a wonderful move to catch runners, as it is a more horizontal chop going from left to right. I like to use this to initiate exchanges via reverse backstep or a good old-fashioned rundown. The rolling R1 is a spinning attack that has a certain sweet spot, whether you want to aim higher or lower. This move is very parryable though, so I prefer to use it as a whiff to bait out the weapon art. The rolling R2 is the same as the second R2 regular attack, but from a rolling standpoint, so it can be used as a parry punish due to the timing change, or due to an R1 whiff setup. The jumping attack is okay, it's good for parry punishes like most jumping attacks, but it has a long recovery time, so beware of the backstabs. The R1 two-handed is similar to its one-handed counterpart, but it's slower, has shorter range, more hyper armor and damage, and the swings go around your character more. And like the one-handed, you have to dead angle it a lot to avoid its parry ability. The two-handed R2s are two different attacks, both chargeable. The first being a downward slice that is good for timed parry punishes and hyper armor combo setups. The second part of the attack is an over-the-head slice that has pretty much the same uses. The rolling R2 is the same as the second R2 except from a rolling standpoint, and should be used in a similar manner. Both of the rolling attacks seem to be exactly the same, whether it's two-handed or one-handed, so they're pretty much used in the same manner. The two-handed jumping attack is a jumping overhead slice that's good for parry punishes and roll catches. Nothing too special about it, it's a jumping attack. The two-handed backstepping and running R1s are pretty good attacks, and are used for the same as the one-handed attacks, but can be run buffed, adding to the switch-ups. The art for this particular weapon is pretty good. The L2 is a 360 swing with an added jumping over the head slice that is very stylish. It's pretty hard to true combo in and out of it though. It is possible, but you don't really need to, and it deals out nearly 800 damage and, well, almost drains your stamina bar. Alrighty, now that I got the moveset out of the way, let's talk about the duels. I'm fighting Onakiri and Ubidashi in this particular fight. The guy's alright. He's not really utilizing the spacing properly to get the proper punishes. Gets one there, really, as I say that. Try going for a few rolling attacks to catch him with it. To catch him, but he's not really falling for it. Till right there when I catch him with that jumping attack. The weapon art on this weapon is so good. I start this fight with an R1, cutting off his Crescent Axe R1 there because of the shorter range. I think this guy's used to a halberd. I come in and get him with the R1 combo there, dealing out a lot of damage. He tries the charged R2 there, but misses. Throws in an R1 hit check there, so I take out my binoculars to bait him in for an R1. Roll past him and get that dead angle. No lock on R1. Our attacks actually go through each other there, which is kind of weird. Come in with the exchange, but I use that R1 hyper armor to actually cut off his attacks. Gets me with a nice parry there, but I'm not too worried about it. He's deader than I am. Worried about the wake-up attacks, though. Do not want to get hit by those. Try to go for the weapon art there, but I completely missed. The guy goes for a triple roll to get out of that shit. He's coming in with some throwing knife attacks there. The R1 hit check, but he misses. Coming with a weapon art there, hitting his wind box, giving him that slice dagger. This is a really awful place to fight a duel. I would not recommend it. We have a lot of playing footsie from the outside, nothing happens. I get him with that weapon art roll catch. He pays me back with an R1, throws a throwing knife, I throw a couple. I throw another one, and get him with the R1 as he's running by. GG, man. In this particular duel, I'm going up against a Drang Hammer user. Really worried about his hyper armor and the combos he can get with those attacks. I'm not using a parry offset weapon here. Throwing out a bunch of those weapon arts because it's the highest hyper armor move I got, I do believe. I have to try those Drang Hammers. They're pretty much the only dual-wielding weapon I never really sat down and tried to get good with. I just don't have them upgraded or anything. I think they're +9 in my box, but whatever. Anyways, back to the duel. I'm throwing out a bunch of R1s here to try to get a hit check in the hopes that I could hyper armor through some of his attacks, but it's not really working. Throwing out an R2 there is just a desperate attempt. Completely missing. R1 hit check into the weapon art. I do catch him there cutting off his attack. Do believe it is a rolling L1. Comes in with that running R1, misses. I throw out a R1 hit check, rolling out of that shit to try to regain the neutral ground. Nothing but a lot of hit checks here. Get him with that 2-hit combo I've been fishing for a couple days, it seems like. This point I just go no lock on for no absolute reason. Come in with the weapon art. Still miss. Whew, whole lot of missing. Finally, after all that time, I land the weapon art to get the kill shot. Felt pretty good, I'm not gonna lie. For this duel, I decided to try something a little bit different. Seeing as most bosses have 2 stages, I decided to give my duel 2 stages. I started with no weapons, just coming with punches, running around, trying to get the spacing down really good. Basically, just wasting time downloading the character, or my opponent here, to see if it is actually working out. Basically a flurry of punches, rolls, nothing really that special. Ooh, bit of lag there, that wasn't cool. Right about at this point, I decided to take out my weapon and put the Carthus Rouge on it. What? I had to get the, ooh, the roll catches and the R1 combo there wasn't too bad. Seemed to even up the score really fast, and I decided to finish him off with the Carthus Rouge. It is a pretty interesting way to play the 2-stage duel. As you can tell, the Carthus Curved Sword overall is a pretty good weapon. I like the weapon art on it. The R1s and the roll catches are pretty fucking good. It can dish out a shit ton of damage in a very short amount of time, but the parry ability on it leaves something left to be desired. Also, you have to do, well, because of the parry ability, a shit ton of dead angling, but once you get that down, it can be a very fun and interesting weapon to use. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and enjoy the rest of your day. Lord of Hollows offline.